on Whip and Wing by Fernin. Chapter 4. Theft. Daring Do yelped in surprise as Brooks roughly snatched her up and lured her to motion. Swearing up a storm, at least Daring Do assumed to do her curses from his tone and the way he kept repeating himself, the man sprinted down the hall towards her room. Behind him, she could hear Jägermeister's shouts, the sounds of his minions pounding up the stairs. As soon as they were through the door, Daring struggled free. Let go! Sorry, but help me here, quick! Brooks wasted very little breath on apologies as he locked and barred the door and started shoving furniture in front of it. The much smaller Pegasus helped as best as he could, shoving the room's chair and helping the cartographer drag a heavy chest into place. The door and makeshift barricade shook a bit under heavy blows by the thugs on the other side, but held firm. With a grin, Richard Brooks dusted off his hands. Well, that should hold it for a... The report of a rifle was positively ear-shattering inside the confines of the inn. A ragged, splintered hole had been thrown through the door at about Brooks' chest level. The horrified man stared at the spot with some sort of dazed frown on his face. He had been standing an inch to the side. On the far side of the door, a second shot rang out, this time followed by a groan and the sound of a collapsing body. Jans Jägermeister snarled, Nein, Horsekopf! I want them alive! The rest of you, break down that door, now! Leaning heavily against the barricade, Brooks grunted with every blow made by the brown-robed mercenaries trying to break in. I'm sorry, Miss Dew. It didn't usually handle things like this. Not me. You need to get out of here, quickly! But what about you? Daring asked worriedly. The shattered window did not look attractive. That was true. But the Pegasus had never left an ally in the arts. You're more important than I, Daring, the cartographer said hurriedly, his entire body shaking with effort holding back their enemies. You can fly, and you have the Medallion of Light! Daring's eyes widened. How did you know that? I saw you put it in your hair when I came in. I can understand. Why you didn't trust me, but trust me now. We can meet up later. You need to get out of here. Richard snapped. Sweat was dripping down his face as he strained to hold up under the increasingly heavy blows. Some of the wood around the doorframe was starting to crack. But I can carry you! Well, a little ways at least. The guilty mare protested, her ears drooping. And here she didn't trust Brooks. Then who would hold the door? The free world depends on it! Brooks grinned for a moment, but his levity quickly faded with the sound of more mercenaries pounding up the stairs. The door shook harder with every blow. If I survive, you can meet me near Kasaba. The town south of here, on the plateau. Just follow the river, but stay hidden. Go! With that last shout, Brooks turned and put all his weight into holding up the pile of furniture that made up the hasty barricade. The spot in the middle of the door exploded into splinters as a rifle butt cast into it, and Brooks went away through. Leaning onto the bed and into the window, Daring Do crashed through the shutters and took flight. A few of the Nazi mercenaries fired at her from the ground, but the hasty efforts were wasted. By the time the door finally gave way and the brown-robed guards piled into the room, the Pegasus was long gone, out of sight over to the nearest mountain ridge. Brooks tasted blood. The final death throes of his barricade had sent him sprawling across the floor. He started to pick himself up, but the prodding of a rifle muzzle in his back kept him down. The cartographer stayed where he was and listened to the measured trends of footsteps approaching at a slow, regular cadence. A pair of well-polished jackboots filled Richard Brooks's field of air. He raised his head to peer up at Hans Jägermeister's serene, beautiful face. And as he bent down to the cartographer, still smiling. Hi, Brooks. Hi there. I believe as your Americans say. So nice to see you again. Indiana Jones soared through the sky, banking around a towering cumulonimbus cloud, and zooming over the swallow-like puffs of cumulus. He always had dreams like this one, where the ground rolled out beneath him like a beautiful brown and green patchwork quilt. The freedom of flight was more liberating than anything else, even traveling the globe. The archaeologist caught sight of a densely clustered city of white marble, pushing up narrow towers into the sky from its perilous perch at the edge of a high-peaked mountain. There it was. Canterlot. No. I'm not saying it. No. I won't say it. Good. With luck, that was where Indy would find what he sought. Rather than dip down now and let the gradual drop in altitude bring him gently into the city gates, Indiana continued on, enjoying the bracing cold of the near stratospheric altitudes at which he cruised. Just when he nearly entered Canterlot's airspace, the archaeologist angled down sharply, diving straight for the narrow strip of stone that was the bridge to the city. Wind whipped past his face so quickly that Dr. Jones had to hold his pith helmet with one hand or risk losing it. The two gate guards looking up, sunlight glinting out their golden armor as they heard the growing roar of Indy's rapid approach. At the last possible moment he slowed, sending up a great cloud of dust as he landed lightly on the road. The archaeologist trotted forward, chuckling eagerly at the distant figure of Princess Celestia's royal guards.
Afternoon, gentle colts.
One of the white-pelted Pegasus ponies glared in response to Indiana's cheeky grin. His armor glittered just that little bit more than what was normal, even in the spit and polished royal guard's equestrian capital city, as he raised one wing to bar the archaeologist's way.
Look, you can't just do that. You're just about to enter Canterlot airspace, direct violation of the... Quiet, Private!
Interrupted the older, more experienced guard before the enthusiastic colt got himself into trouble.
But...
The younger guard started to protest, but a quick glare from his sergeant silenced the Pegasus. With a mischievous look, the guard private lowered his wing and returned to staring blankly into the distance. Turning back to Indy, the guard sergeant nodded politely.
Please, go right in. It's not every day that we meet a famous adventurer. Thank you, Sergeant.
Indy said, grin-whining as he continued to pass the two guards into Canterlot proper. Good. At least somebody around here knew who he was. He worried that being away so long would make these boring city dwellers forget the greatest treasure hunter in Equestria. The archaeologist's thoughts trailed off with a sense of fake amusement. The greatest treasure hunter and where, again? And he hadn't always hated that term. The streets of Canterlot were bustling as usual, filled with unicorns and the occasional Pegasus. There were even a few earth ponies, though that last group mostly kept their heads down and worked hard doing the chores that were necessary, yet too boring or demeaning for the upper crust elites to do for themselves. Indiana snorted. It was even worse here than Cloudsdale, whatever that was. A steady climb to the city finally brought Indiana to his goal, the great library in Canterlot. The tall edifice seemed almost as impressive as Princess Celestia's palace herself, looming forebodingly over the city. Some ponies, griffins, and dragons glared down at the archaeologist's approach, watching him silently, as if to judge his worthiness to enter. Indiana Jones paid him no mind. His unhurried gait came at a silent canter, as he nearly sprinted up the doors and slipped up inside. The great library's entrance area was like the nave of a massive cathedral, its high and vaulted ceiling dwarfing Indiana as he walked up to the reception desk. When he tipped his helmet politely to the dark blue unicorn waiting there, she nodded in acknowledgement and went back to the reading. Indy waited. After a moment, the mare's eyes widened, and she looked back up, sharp recognition written across her face. Oh, wow, it's you! We got your letter earlier this week. Did you really fly all the way here from Draconia just 2 days?
Sure did. You won't find many faster than these babies.
Indy smiled smugly. He glanced back proudly at his outspread. There's nothing there. For some reason, he had been inspecting wings. Well, no matter. He had bigger concerns in mind.
Alright. I was told you had some books looking familiar, miss.
Oh, coming midnight, please.
The unicorn simpered. It seemed Indy had a fan.
And yes, they're right this way, if you follow me.
A short time later, Indiana was eagerly blowing dust from the ancient tomes and poring over their contents. This felt oddly comforting, almost familiar to Indy in a way that the rest of his strange dream was not. Doing research in the library seemed natural, but everything else? Something was subtly wrong. Trying to focus on the task at hand, Dr. Jones skimmed through the pages of a book on ancient religions on the Ridgeback Mountains. Marking the page, he turned to another, a catalog of magical artifacts. He stared down at the 2 books, comparing the entries for, what were they called again? The Medallions of Day and Darkness? Ah, here they were, the Medallions of Light and Shadow. Indiana sucked air nervously between his teeth and read the pages again. This must be what Ahuizotl was planning. The ability to walk the worlds with but a single step sounded powerful, even without the added and less frequent tales of demon summoning. With the means to teleport anywhere he wanted to go, the weird 8-dog creature would be just that much more difficult to stop. The archaeologist shuddered to think of what his most persistent enemy would do with twin medallions. No ponies' relics would be safe. No components for the beast's evil spells would be beyond his reach. Indy doubted that the artifacts were an end in themselves, but just a means to an end. More books allowed Dr. Jones to dig up even more proof of his original assumption. As he told minions were already probably on their way to the Ridgebacks, eager to find the Temple of Shadow and retrieve the Medallion of Shadow to support their master's latest schemes. It was just too bad that Indy's informant hadn't known more about their mutual enemy's search for the Medallion of Light. Still, some information was better than none. The archaeologist could only be in one place at a time, no matter how fast he may be. Indy thanked Celestia that he found that less than completely loyal henchman hiding on Draconia. The poor creature had been on his last legs after the punishment he received from Ahuizotl's claws. But he showed no sign of pain as he eagerly told Indiana all that he knew about his former employer's plans. It had been much, but at least the sound of footsteps behind Indiana Jones jolted the engrossed reader out of his thoughts, set him whirling, hands up to receive an attack. He blinked.
Oh, Midnight. It's you.
Can I get you anything? You've been reading here for hours, so I thought see if there's anything I can help you with.
The blue-pelted mare tossed a bit of errant mane out of her eyes. Yes, Indiana could definitely see he had a fan. Dr. Jones chuckled and shook his head.
No, thank you. You've been very hospitable. But is there something I can help you with?
When Midnight's eyes sparkled with excitement, Indiana could see he guessed correctly. She nearly tripped over her own hose, rushing forward until the archaeologist and the unicorn were about a short distance apart. The librarian bit her lip for a moment, but finally drew up the courage to ask,
Well, I always wondered, why do you travel all over the world? Why fight horrible creatures like Ahuizotl and crawl through under dungeon after dungeon in search of dusty old magical trinkets?
Well,
Indiana shrugged. He wanted to explain the calling of archaeology, the need to preserve relics for the past so the education of the future. He thought about describing the criminal behavior of treasure hunters, destroying priceless evidence for history for personal gain. But he found himself saying was,
because it's fun.
Fun?
repeated Midnight, echoing Indiana's own incredulous thought.
Yeah, fun. I've always had a taste for adventure. It's a win-win situation for me. I get out of stuffy places like Caroline Cosdale and I get to see the world.
Indiana enthused, his mouth moving entirely at odds with his own mental processes.
I can kick Ahuizotl's freaky tail behind and see the way the world was before we ponies came in and made everything so
So,
librarian promptly.
so orderly.
Finished Dr. Jones, making the words sound like a curse.
but what about the higher calling of archaeology? What about preserving our past for future generations?
He saw his mare couldn't quite let go of that idea. Their hero was just in it for laughs. Neither, honestly, could Indy. Indiana found herself struck again.
Yeah, that's good too, but the adventure's the best part. Don't knock it till you try it. Besides, what kind of answer did you expect out of a basis named Daring Do?
Indiana Jones tumbled out of his dream and almost off his too small mattress as the sound of shouting and urgent struggles dragged him back to consciousness. In an instant, he was wide awake, straining to see in the near complete darkness of his room. Furniture clattered in the middle of the floor as something kicked a chair, sitting against an unseen wall. Something swung out into darkness and crashed into Indy's jaw, knocking his head back. He felt like he had been hit in the face with a mallet. With the white specks of paint on the only light he could see, Indiana kicked out with both his feet, heels stuck in something beanie. Instant went tumbling with a surprised shout. Busting his attack, the archaeologist dove forward, hands outstretched to grapple with his unseen opponents. Touch, hearing, and smell were the only senses available to Indiana as he wrestled something furred and muscular to the floor. With a groan of anger, it wrenched itself free. A blunt object slammed to the archaeologist's side. Before the attacker could draw it back for another try, Indy grabbed the weapon in a crushing grip and twisted, trying to wrest it out of his assailant's grip. The weapon felt oddly soft and fragile under his grab. The opponent screamed in anguish. As if on cue, the door burst open. A shimmering silvery glow seemed to bathe the world in light. The surprised archaeologist found himself rising in the air with his limbs immobilized by a nebulous cloud of tinkling nothingness. Beside him floated a groaning Pegasus and some sort of dog creature. At the doorway stood a unicorn, the horn on his head shining brightly, spitting out sparks of a flare. The newcomer spoke first. His voice, a clipped British accent, was blurred by somewhat sleepiness.
I say, what are you three doing at this time of morning?
I like to know the same thing. This is my room.
Indiana retorted, glancing down at the floor that was still several feet away in defiance of all natural laws. He looked up again to see the glow surrounding him, mirrored on the horn of the unicorn. A unicorn. A goddamn unicorn. What was next? No. He thought that before about unicorns after the Pegasus, and look what happened. It was as someone up there was mocking him.
Oh, quite.
After an awkward silence, the unicorn nodded his head slightly, and Indiana found himself lowered till his feet touched the ground. Solid wood had never felt so good. Abruptly, the silver nimbus around Dr. Jones winked out. The other two combatants, however, remained glowing and airborne.
Now, the unicorn. Ask your question.
Indiana growled, glaring at the flying creatures. Looking at the two, Dr. Jones realized he had seen the Pegasus before. The red-pelted stallion. What was his name? Starfire? Was the one who served up the watered-down ale when Indy was speaking with the innkeeper that evening. The Pegasus pony seemed half mad with pain, one wing dangling uselessly as he sighed.
Oh, my wing! My wing! That dumb mutt's the one you should have attacked, not me. Oh, spirits.
Indiana Jones turned to the dumb mutt to hear his side of things. The canine monstrosity seemed to be a slender and undersized thing, a cross between someone's bulldog and an ape. His green eyes glared across the red-pelted Pegasus as his long, slippery tongue rolled out at full length. No, wait. That wasn't a tongue at all. Leaping away with an exclamation of disgust, Indiana got as much distance from the snake that he could manage. Still hanging in the air, the dog ape chewed on his impromptu meal, slippering noisily with a mixture of anger and supreme embarrassment on his face. After a moment, the creature stuck the rest of the snake's limp tail into his mouth, like some sort of disgusting meal, and whined.
Right not to mutt! What's Starfire doing here so early, anyway?
Starfire groaned in pain and glared at Flint, gathering enough strength to speak. Before he could answer, the sound of clattering hoofs filled the hallway. A panting Pennywise nearly collided with the dark green unicorn as he crowded into the room. He glanced around the room, his eyes widening as he caught sight of the tableau of destruction. The innkeeper glared at everyone and demanded,
Well?
Flint and Starfire struggled against their most certainly magical bonds. Flint's jowled face was contorted in fear as he strained to get away. The red stallion mouthed incoherent threats. Reaching up, Indiana grabbed both creatures through the silvery field that surrounded them and pulled, slamming their skulls together. The canine whimpered, and the Pegasus fell silent, save for the sound of his breath hissing through clenched teeth.
Well,
asked Indiana, turning to the innkeeper.
is this thing how things usually go at your inn, Pennywise? People getting attacked in their beds at night?
Quite, muttered the unicorn, shaking his head in disgust.
I like what you're insinuating, Indiana. I assure you, my reliable employees would never do something like this.
The innkeeper turned to Starfire, eyes wide.
By Celestian, what have you done to him? His wing!
I'll just pull him down, then, shall I? The white-maned unicorn said, looking awkwardly at the innkeeper and his winged employee.
I'm sorry, not a medical penny, so.
Starfire struggled to have his hooves as the energy around him faded. He swayed woozily, leaving him four-legged, still floating Flint.
I was cleaning when I saw that dirt clod of a diamond dog slinking around up here after his bedtime. When he stuck in here, I got worried about our guest's safety. So I followed him. When I entered the room, he attacked me, little mutt.
Flint's green eyes went wide, and he struggled a little harder against the silver cloud around him.
Right, not do that! We go in after, pony! After!
Pennywise snored and turned to the unicorn.
Could you let him down, please, Mr. Trowel?
Dr. Trowel, Oxley, but close. The cloud around the unicorn's horn abruptly cut out, along with the field around Flint's brown-furred form. The diamond dog tumbled to the ground with a grunt. In an instant, Pennywise was nearly on top of the carried Flint. Rock-hard hoofs smacked around across Flint's nuzzle, and tore an anguished yell from the creature's throat. Any further whines of pain were drowned out by the innkeeper's angry shouting.
You miserable cur! One of my good employees is hurt because of you! Get out of here right now! I'll take you up in a minute! But, fight to us! Fight goes! Fight goes!
The diamond dog yelped as his master self rose again. He locked off, lumbering out of the room like a small, emancipated gorilla. Pennywise turned back to Indiana Jones' side.
I am very sorry about that, Indiana. I don't know why I put up with that thing sometimes. Too charitable for my own good, I suppose.
Sure,
Indy grunted.
any ideas what you'd be doing in here, Starfire?
The Pegasus shrugged, grunting again as his gesture sent a new wave of pain crashing through his nerve endings. I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm barely standing right now. Can I go, please?
Thank you, Starfire. Go see my wife. She'll fix you up.
As the Pegasus left, Pennywise turned back to the shattered chair and the overturned chest aside. The damage wasn't extensive, but it was another expense he didn't need. Oh well, he just take it out of Foot's pay for the next decade or so.
I'm not paying for these damages.
Indiana said preemptively, before the Earth Pony thought of asking.
And that was all self-defense.
Pennywise's ears flattened against his skull. He looked hurt. A little too hurt.
I don't know why you would even think I would do something like that. There'll be no extra charge, of course. I'm not replacing anything in here until at least dawn, either.
Good, fair enough. Good night, Pennywise.
Indiana Jones watched the Earth Pony leave. Now only the unicorn named Dr. Trowel remained, still hovering by the door as if waiting for something to happen. Straightening, Indiana got a good look at the unicorn for the first time. He half suspected it, and this just confirmed things. Dr. Trowel was the same creature who turned to surprise when Indy mentioned being an archaeologist. He was somewhat surprised he hadn't noticed the horn on the unicorn's head before. The creature had been facing away in the common room. Oh well, that was neither here nor there. Approaching the creature, Dr. Jones stuck out with one hand. With a name like Trowel,
I don't think I thanked you properly. I'm Indiana Jones. Nice to meet a fellow archaeologist.
Halt it, you! Ah, the name. Of course. Dr. Silver Trout, at your service.
the unicorn offered one forehoof, which Indiana bent down to shake.
Got to be hip. Though, truth be told, I was just here to give you a proper talking to, for being so loud at such an early hour in the morning.
Dr. Jones simply laughed and sat down on his bed. The only piece of furniture still intact, lucky him. He went to Silver Trowel. It was nice that the unicorn had showed up with whatever weird powers he brought to the fight. But it seemed a bit convenient that only he had arrived in the nick of time. Leaving the pony archaeologist inside, Indy said,
Come here. I'll offer you a chair, if I still had one.
Ha! Very drone.
Trowel commented. Resting on his haunches in a relatively clear area of the floor, he smiled.
Well, I simply be getting you back to bed, but I might as well say hello. What brings you back to the Ritzbacks?
Like you heard in the common room. I'm here to do some field work on ancient cults,
Indiana said.
No luck so far, though. Pennywise doesn't think so, anyway.
Silver Trowel scratched his chin thoughtfully with a hoof.
That, in my experience, innkeepers tend to overinflate their non-somewhat. I know, for I have heard some very interesting rumors of some sort of cult to the north of here. It was called the Brotherhood of the Stake, I believe. They used to be prominent in this region, but vanished from all records. A few hundred years ago. Nobody knows why, although I suspect Equestria's expansion into the area during that time period may have something to do with it.
Indiana graded appreciatively. Interesting. So, in some ways, the history of this place was similar. He was tempted to ask more about Equestria. The name had shown up on the map he had been perusing. But
I'll be interested to know more about your research, Dr. Jones. But honestly, I confess I'd be interested to know more about you.
the unicorn man with a friendly smile.
I don't think I've ever come across one of your species before. What are you? Where are you from?
That seems like a safe enough question to answer. The creature's reaction might be informative.
Me? I'm a human. I'm from all over, but right now, Marshall Collins.
Marshall College, Trowel repeated. So, outside of learning, and where's that?
Oh, back in the States, in Kent, in Connecticut.
Dr. Jones's brow wrinkled in puzzlement. He felt all right after a few hours of sleep he had gotten. He must have been entirely tired he thought to stumble over his own words like that. Where had the name Cartolot even come from? Hiding his growing sense of confusion, Indiana went on the offensive.
What about you, Silver? Cults or something else?
Nothing as interesting as that. Just passing through, I'm afraid. I thought I might see an old friend of mine on the way, but sadly we seem to have missed each other.
Silver Trowel sighed, but the sigh transformed into a massive yawn. The unicorn covered his muzzle with one hoof.
Hey, don't forgive me. I must return to bed.
Don't let me keep you,
replied Dr. Jones. Silver Trowel returned to go, but paused at the door.
Oh, one word of advice, from one archaeologist to another. You seem like the civilized sort. This area probably isn't anything like where you're from. Celestia knows the Ridgebacks aren't like property across here,
Yeah?
plotted Indy when the helpful unicorn trailed off. Well, you're on your own study in Indiana. But if I had found 2 innkeepers' employees in my room while I was asleep, I would have been checking to make sure my hose and horn was still attached. Every pony here in Ridgebacks respects property the way we do in more civilized areas. With that, Silvertrow yawned again and excused himself, shutting the door quietly behind him. Indiana listened for the sounds of the unicorn's retreating hose until a door farther down the hall opened and closed. All was silent and dark again in the room. You could almost hear the silent slither, hopefully, of imaginary snakes. Turning on his mattress, the archaeologist pushed open the heavy wooden shutters to let in some light. The blue glow of the strange lanterns filled the room, casting odd shadows on the walls as Indy surveyed the wreckage. Out of long habit, Dr. Jones checked his room thoroughly before taking off anything, going to sleep. Even in the poorly lit inn, there was no way for the snake to have gotten here, unless it was placed. Indiana lit the somehow still undamaged candle and bent low, examining the floor again. It was still free of any cracks or holes, though, once the snake might have slipped. Still, it didn't hurt to check again. He held the candle closer to the bed, checking underneath. The flickering yellow light revealed a small spray of red, splatters of blood from the recently devoured snake dotted the floor. If Indiana thought about where the diamond hog's head was positioned when he bit into that nasty thing, it must have been right next to Indy's bed. Well, Indiana wasn't going to let any more sleep tonight. By his estimate, it was practically dawn as it was. Moving briskly, the archaeologist began collecting his things and pulling on his discarded piece of clothing. As a final check, he patted his pants to make sure the Medallion of Shadow was still safely hidden. He patted again, still nothing. His body into motion, Dr. Jones searched desperately through the folds of the blanket and under the bed. He searched the room from end to end and came up empty. It was missing. The Medallion of Shadow was gone. Startled with frustration, Indiana ran to his front door on his head and jerked open the door to his room. He had better find that artifact again, and fast, and he had a good idea where to start looking.